What's the big idea?
Alrighty, welcome to episode number 58.
I was going to say you said 57.
I said 57 before.
Nice.
But it's 58. I was testing you, and you passed. Grasshopper.
Nice. I can stay at this side of the table.
You can stay. Yes. Well, you're working your way over here, and one day I'll be through the wall. Okay. Today's topic is a good one. It's do physical punishments work? We're talking about obviously volleyball, right?
And by work we mean make players better.
Yeah. Do they help in any way? There's a lot of discussion about physical punishments. I grew up in an era where definitely physical punishments were more common. Eric grew up in an era where they were still common. And now we've seen the transition into most places where they happen still. And sometimes people talk about them negatively when they do. But for the most part, they've decreased a lot.
Yeah.
But there are settings where they still happen. And there are still places and coaches who use them. And so we're going to talk about whether they're useful, helpful. Do they work?
I think I was right at of that generation where they were really ramping down. Like when I was like 10 to 16, it was a lot of it.
Yeah.
Well, and also we also would just spend practices doing a lot of physical stuff. Mm-hmm. So there was a good component where it wasn't just punishment. It's just like we have to do this if we want to be better. So that
training,
was
yes.
Yeah. But then for sure, a lot of certain coaches, it was just like physical punishment, just like sprints or whatever. And it was mostly like sprints or stairs or practices where you just do physical. And then that definitely went down between the ages of like 16 to like 24, I would say. So did it work? It makes me wonder if, like, would I have a different, what I regard like exercise differently now, at the age I'm at now, had it not been so like kind of punishing,
right?
Back then. That's like the main question on my mind, because
like, did it turn you off exercise a little bit? Yeah. I think the difference though for us now is, regardless of what we were punished with or rewarded with or whatever you want to talk, however you want to say it. I think we've both reached the age where, like, if we now understand training's importance for longevity and functionality and pain-free living, versus I think everybody can learn that. You know what I mean? I never got turned off physical fitness though because of a coach making me like work out. Like, do you think, like, we're also in a very blamey society. We like to blame. Mm-hmm. I think that there's people who love working out and people who hate working out. Mm-hmm. And if you're someone who hates working out, it's very easy to blame a coach that made you run as punishment. You know what I mean? Because, like, the kids that loved it.
For sure.
Because, like, even there were kids in the punishments who enjoyed it. Right? There were kids who, like, didn't mind getting the what they used to call suicides. Now they call them touching lines or whatever.
I think I was one of those athletes where
you enjoyed it.
I probably like hated it in the moment, or maybe not hated it, but like,
well, roll your eyes, but part of you loves it.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. You're
and
like,
then
oh crap.
Afterwards, I'm not mad at the coach or anyone. Mm-hmm. I'm kind of like just, I got through it, and if anything, I got to be one of the players that actually busted their ass off at the thing that no one wanted to do. You know what I mean? So I also kind of got off a little bit on that, because I could see everyone else hated doing this.
Yep.
And I'm like, I don't like doing this either, but I'm going to do it. And then you're going to have to deal with that. Now you're going to be running beside me, and I'm going to be going faster than you. And what is that going to do to you? Well, I don't know. It's not like I thought about doing that beforehand. It's just like in the moment, I'm like, this all sucks. Mm-hmm. And so I'm like, I'm just going to do this anyways, if I can.
Yeah. But it's funny that you and I both work out now quite a bit. And we didn't let.
But I've never been really good at consistently doing weights. You know what I mean?
But your definition, definition compared to most people's definition, like, you're hard on yourself, and that's why, like, your bad week is like getting in the gym twice.
Right. Yeah.
You know what I mean? And my bad thing is, like, if I take a week off, I feel like it's been a month, and if I take a month off, I feel like hell, and it shows in my demeanor.
Yeah.
And I get miserable, and I go back to it. Right. So I think that, like, I don't know. I think I think there's a big part of blame going on, but I think there's a bigger issue too in that today the coaches that are doing physical punishments often are doing it because they don't know what to teach, or they don't know how to fix the problem of the athlete. So they make them run. Like there is a time and place for this. I think the only time where a physical punishment can work is if your players have all the skill and are having maybe a mentally, mental breakdown. You're like, guys, you guys aren't concentrating today. Let's wake ourselves up maybe with this here. And now let's see if we can refocus. Because otherwise, like when I see, again, it's kind of that confusing pro sports with youth sports again. If you're teaching youth athletes, your whole practice should be filled with technical information, fixing, tweaking. Here's how you can fix this. Like if you're coaching 12-year-olds or 15-year-olds or even 16-year-olds, and you're like, you know what? You guys run a bunch of laps. You don't have time for that. If you're a really good coach, you don't have time for that because practice time is rare. Yeah. And every minute should be, you know what? I notice, guys, that we're not moving our feet very well, or I notice some of us are standing too shallow. Some of us are standing deep. Some of us are over committing to a forearm pass when we should be face passing or vice versa. You know what I mean? Yeah. If you're a good technical coach, you wouldn't have time to waste with a lot of punishments for error. Like I hate it when I see a player making a technical mistake and the coach punishes them physically rather than correcting. Like I knew some other coaches where players would come to me and say, he doesn't or she doesn't correct us. She just punishes us, right?
That was most of the reasons why the teams I was on did it. It's because we failed at a mechanic. Usually pass and serve, something like that. And then we would suffer and have to do the punishment where we weren't provided or taught how to just do better at X or whatever the objective was. So that was the part that really, when I was in disagreement with it, it was over that. However, I still did it. But the times that I did absolutely respect it was when there was a lack of focus, lack of intensity.
That's it.
And that's the thing that I don't know. How do you coach that? This is off topic, but maybe not.
Like intensity?
Yeah. Like how do you, because there's so many factors, right? Like kids are athletes or young adults, whatever. Like they can be super busy nowadays, especially with their workloads. If they're at university, varsity, like sports, that's crazy workload. So you have that. Kids just seem to be busier or more stimulated in general.
Yeah, there's so much going on in the world now, on our phones and jobs.
So you can show up, and I mean, this is the life value that the awesome thing about being part of a varsity sports program is that you're developing the ability to, when you show up, to let go of everything else.
Yep.
And show up and be present and be there as an athlete and be there as a student and be there as a teammate, right? So it's good to go through those crappy times where you show up and you don't want to be there, but you're just still going to be there and battle it out with your teammates, because then the next time that happens, you'll be better at it and you'll kind of respect yourself for staying in there. So self-confidence and all that kind of builds, right? But
it's like an escape from the world.
Yeah. And if anything, you show up not feeling great, but you feel awesome afterwards, right?
Yeah, 100%.
So that's part of it. It's individual responsibility to bring focus and intensity.
Yeah, and it's impossible to keep it up, especially the longer seasons get. But I think the best coaches are really good at, and teachers are good at sensing when there's lulls and understanding, like, okay, we need a fun practice today.
So they're like DJs,
They're like DJs.
Sure, yeah. Like, oh, okay, I gotta go hard and soft. When they bust out the.
Yeah. Well, usually DJs just put on crappy music so people go buy drinks. That's the key to being a good DJ.
True.
You gotta play bars hate DJs that play great music all night. They're like, hey, can you play some crappy songs so people go buy some drinks? Like, oh,
very smart.
Yeah, that's what they do.
Are you a DJ?
No, I wasn't a DJ, but I pretended I was.
Oh, okay, yeah. With your real estate agent in Costa Rica.
Yeah, exactly. That's right. Yeah, my real estate agent in Costa Rica didn't want to sell homes. He wanted to DJ in the Philippines.
He's not going to listen to this podcast anymore.
No, I don't think so. But he literally said to me, but DJ's my passion. He said that to me. I was like, what? Well, selling a house is my passion. Anyway, no, but I did DJ a little bit. Like I did, like for fun, like, little get-togethers or something like that. But I remember, like some of my friends who were DJing in clubs, they were like, yeah, we play those. Like I was like, why are you playing this crappy music? And they're like, oh, we have to, because that's when people go get their drinks, right?
They'll be pissed off if they
just, that's the whole business model is like 10 good songs, couple crappy ones. But no, like so like a coach or teacher, like you got to throw in the fun practices. And I think if you want to coach intensity, I think we did this before. Like, can you teach intensity in one of our episodes? If you haven't seen that, click up here. Just kidding. We don't know how to do it.
Did we? We don't know how to do that.
I know how to do it. I could do it, but it's just too much time. But just go find it. It's on our list of episodes. Because I think it was like, can you coach or teach someone to compete? Remember that?
Oh, yeah. Right.
And the way you do it, if you're a coach listening, is you have a practice with goals and like, 3-on-3 stuff, 4-on-4, whatever you want, and then like it has a goal and a competition, like scorekeeping between sides. That gets intensity up. It's also great team bonding. It's the ultimate team bonding.
Well, I feel like there's an element of fun in there because fun ties in with competition, ties in with
intensity, right? Like intensity is easy if people are engaged. So
and the team has to be well bonded.
Yeah, right? And it's cool to mix it. And like one way to mix in a wrinkle, like if you have a 2-hour practice, is like every once a team reaches 5 points, then you mix up the teams. Yeah, and then you go again. I like that. And then you can even total up like which player had the most total points on there. And then you got like a king or queen of the beach or king or queen of the court thing where like, oh, okay, tonight's champ is like Vicky or Steve, 2 names that aren't used much anymore.
Vicky and Steve.
It's like obsolete names. Vicky.
Yeah, I don't know.
Meanwhile, there's this guy named Steven out there just went, No, just kidding. Steve, you're still relevant. Yeah. Look at me. My name's friggin' Zuby. Whoops. Anyway, bleep.
Yeah, we did like the bench versus the starters was always one of my favorites. I love that. And then put like one of the starters with bench and vice versa.
Right.
And like the grudge match.
Like give the bench the setter at least, right?
Well,
starting setter would be cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, so like those things, that's a good way to teach, compete, and then they're playing for something, like because it's a long season, and if you're just practicing endlessly, then that's where you're gonna get the all right, guys, go run the stairs, or okay, girls, touch lines, like you guys, your heads aren't in it tonight. I think a coach can really,
if they have like big games coming up, or they just came off a big game, you're gonna throw that at them. Like,
I know, and it's just like the length of season. I mean, like there's that's where the team sometimes teams are wise to do the team bonding night, and maybe it can be that scrimmage night. Or, you can invent anything. I mean, the gym is yours. You can have a little mini tournament, on the night. And
I think that's the reason why a good coach, if they can, and if the athletes have the time and schedule, they do the preseason like fitness, right? Because they're. I mean, I'm sure you're going to bring this up, but the whole point of is that you want to educate the athletes as to the importance of physical training, right? And then sport-specific training, or even like non-sport-specific training, just fitness in general, like playing varsity. It was like 2 or 3 weeks out. We're sitting there doing like ass-breaking friggin', I'm trying not to swear, like fitness, right?
So bum breaking.
Gluteus
maximus.
Is ass
gluteus maximus. Busting, breaking, not busting.
And then because the thing is, you do that, and if you ever, parents or if you're athletes, if you're on a team where they get to do this stuff, you get to actually see the benefit of doing that. Like you do work really hard for 2-3 weeks, and then you get back in the gym, and then you have your first game or your first practice or whatever, and you're like actually flying, or you're not winded, or so like that, and then there's instant. I don't know.
Feedback.
Yeah. Ooh, like, and now and then for sure that it tapers off as you get closer to the season. Like at the beginning of the season, you're still gonna have some practices where you're just doing nothing but physical stuff, sprints, whatever.
Excuse me.
Zuby's dying. And when you get closer to playoffs, it's not about that because you're already in shape, right? You're not gonna be able to jump higher. You need to maintain at that point. Don't get injured. And then just it's all about the mental game at that point, right?
Yeah. And do you think there's a real risk of a coach if they overuse? I guess if you overuse like physical punishments, could you turn an athlete off physical training? Do you think, or do you think that's a myth? Because I mean that's one of those standard things that even I believe my whole life. Like if a coach uses physical, I think we've all just accepted that, like a bunch of coaches. But do you think you're turning the kid off physical punishment or physical fitness, I should say, by associating it with punishment? Or do you think that's just a genetic thing where you're hardwired, either you love it or you don't?
I think you're turning them off of that sport. or that team in particular.
Because what's the problem? Like, what is the athlete getting turned off? Why are they getting turned off?
Well, in some degree, I think you are turning them off of physical fitness. But sorry, what?
Well, why are you turning them off the sport or even physical fitness?
I think,
like, what's the difference between like the person who physically trains and the person who's forced to physically train?
I think it's just kind of messing up with actually being aware of the good benefit of the training, because whether it is self-induced or you have to do it in response to a coach's demands, the good thing is that, like, and I think this happened with you and I would run stairs, do the sprints or board jumps, and then because of our state of mind, we reap the benefit of the hard work of because there's the whole neurotransmitter awesome thing. But if you're an athlete and they're repeatedly having to do physical punishment, now you're conditioning an emotional state over and over and over again. I think you're just going to make that stronger and stronger, where they're not even going to be aware of the awesome chemicals that they're getting. And not only that, they're probably going to try less and less hard. So they're not even going to be giving everything. They're just going to be getting through this. And all they're going to be thinking in their mind, and I've had practices like this, I'm sure you have as well. This is a good thing to go through, where you're just hating on the coach in your head.
Yep.
You're just like nonstop thinking about them, but we still did the thing and got rid of it, right? But if that's happening more and more and more, and there's nothing to balance that out, the coach isn't really redeeming themselves in any degree. I don't know. I can only assume that emotions can get so strong that it's just going to make them stress, and they're going to want to leave. Like, yeah, that's my opinion.
No, I think you're right. Like, I was sort of playing devil's advocate, but I think that the difference is, like, between the athlete who does it like if an athlete does it themselves, like the training, they are doing it with the idea of enhancing their skill and performance, versus I think the problem with a coach that jumps to the physical punishments often, I think the players might not necessarily see the benefits of that too. So like they're not only are you associating negative, like physical fitness with negative, but you're also not improving. Like, you know what I mean? Like those players that are saying, you're not making me a better player here. You're making me a better runner, maybe. Or you're making me fear you, but you're not making me want to play the sport better, or you're not helping me play the sport better. And, you know, volleyball, we talked about this last episode. It's such a technical sport that if the athlete won't see they're not seeing the value, sort of what you said, they're not seeing the value of this physical fitness, because now you're just throwing it in as a consequence. You're not even linking it with, like, okay guys, we got to jump higher, so here's some things we're going to do to jump higher. You're like, run lines, because we're not running, like we're not, unless the coach says, you know what guys, we can't, like, the only way or we're losing when we hit the fifth sets, or we're hitting the third, we're the longer the match. No coach
ever says that.
When we're
physical punishment.
I know they
do this.
They never say, like, listen guys, we trail off in long matches. But see, the difference between, like, going to it as a punishment is a problem, because you're not even linking it up with a goal of, like, hey, our endurance, if somebody came into practice and said, somebody said, like, our endurance in long matches is not very good, we tend to lose matches that go beyond 3 sets or whatever, then everybody, like, yeah, man, that's right, yeah, okay, let's work on our cardio. But that's to improve, versus punishment is like, fear me. And what else does it do? It makes athletes nervous on the court, in drills, in games. And we know that if an athlete is afraid of some other consequence, then they're going to not perform. It's so true. If you have some kind of negative emotion on your mind while trying to play, it's not going to turn out. The fear of physical punishment. It actually adds a whole other, like, we talked about this in the mental health or mental strength, mental training one. Like, if the goal is to go without thinking, then the coach who uses physical punishment for mistakes is actually increasing the thinking of the athlete, because now the athlete isn't concerned about performing, relaxing. They're concerned about not messing up, and that's a very big difference. If you're afraid of messing up, if you just go try tightrope walking. Tightrope walking without a care in the world, and then try to do tightrope walking. Like, do it across, like, slack line between trees. And then watch how good you get at that, and then take it up, a couple skyscrapers, and then try it. Like, where you're going to perform better, right? The fear of messing up is less I
have a really stupid story, but example of this.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just want to share it because it's really kind of funny.
Okay. And it's on topic, Eric?
Yeah, it's on topic. Okay. It's just on topic of the power of fear.
Okay. And how it's not inappropriate, Eric?
It's not inappropriate. No. No, not involving poop or anything.
Poop? That's not what I was concerned about with you.
No, so this was only, I don't know, this is maybe only like 8 years ago. But as a kid, like I used to climb everything. I'm sure as most kids do, like climb trees like crazy or whatever. And then, no, it was maybe like 8 or 10 years ago. And so as an adult, like I think it was like 28 or something or 26, I went and I was like, oh, I'm going to go climb a tree. Like, I don't know why.
Just to see if you still can.
Yeah. And
did they have to call the fire department?
No, but oh my God. So I'm climbing out on a bow. And then I got to the point where.
Did you call it a bow instead of a branch?
Yeah, I called it a bow.
Oh, that's very accurate of you.
Oh, nice. Thanks.
Most people would have just said I climbed it on a branch.
Well,
but
branches are small.
Oh my God.
I'm an experienced tree climber. Or I was.
A little arborist.
I was.
You're like an arborist.
Okay. And so I'm out on this thing. And like, obviously you go from the trunk outwards, right? So my butt is towards the trunk. And I get to the point. I
don't like this visual.
No. So I get to the point where I realize I'm like, okay, I need to go back. And then I was trying to calculate how to do it, and I realized I had to go backwards.
And then they called the fire department.
And I was losing my balance, and then and then all of a sudden I got afraid, and I'm like 20 feet up in the air, and I'm like,
just to be clear, I want to review.
Yes.
So you are a 28-year-old.
No, we're not asking the reasons why.
You are a 28. I just want to make sure. I just want to review.
I got to finish.
I just want to review. So you're a 28-year-old adult male.
You can review. 26.
26. Okay.
No drugs.
Okay, no drugs, involved. Just a random urge.
Yes.
This is a work. Is this a work day? Is this like Monday to Friday?
I think it was working for you.
Oh. I hope this is like an unpaid shift time, Eric.
Well, I wasn't working at the time, but
okay. Oh, shock! I was criminally unemployed.
Okay.
Were you naked? Were you
no,
okay. Sorry.
Yeah. Okay.
So okay.
I'm just on the point is it got to the point where the fear got so intense
that you fell.
No, but like my body locked up and like I couldn't move, and then it got worse because then it got worse because then I thought I'm like I'm just gonna be stuck here for forever. Okay, shut up.
So you said no drugs, right? Just to be clear, no drugs.
But then I had to exactly. Hold on. But I just wrote it out. Luckily I didn't panic or anything. But like. In that moment, fear literally is paralyzing.
Yes.
Like you can't move, and it feels like. Right. And I was so worried because then I like even almost lost the ability to balance. And then I eventually calmed down. And then I was able to climb backwards, get to the trunk, and then climb down.
So like from start to finish.
My point is,
how long was that? I just need to know.
It was probably only like a minute.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
You sure?
It felt like an hour.
Okay.
But it was probably only like.
See, this is why we have a podcast. Because these stories need to be told.
When you said fear, I was like,
no, but you know what? In fairness, I think everybody can relate to that moment, like learning to ride a bike. You're like, that moment where you're like, your parent is like, you're driving
stiff and they
just you're riding perfectly and you're like, okay, wow, and then you're like, and then you see your parent said, I let go 3 minutes ago, and you're like, whoa, instantly fly into the ditch, right? Yeah, that's the same Eric moment you had on that.
Yeah, it's just to the
that bow,
to the extreme. Eric on the bow. I'm gonna get a t-shirt.
Oh, that's good. I have a good story. Mug. So that's great because the fear of the athlete from physical punishment. I like how I have to bring this back, but But the fear of the athlete, they tense up on the court if there's a physical punishment. Same thing. You're right. It's
tense
true.
Up.
I have a great story.
Someone is afraid. They get stiff and they just.
You know what's funny? Like talk about fear of physical punishment. Like I remember tryouts. I think I told this story before.
Is this appropriate?
This is appropriate.
Okay.
Yeah.
Not in the change room.
Can you what?
Oh, I'm just doing
what you did.
Yeah.
No, this is totally appropriate. But this is an interesting thing about physical fitness. And like, so we were having basketball tryouts in high school. And I was...
you got cut, right?
Let's tell this whole story. I was one of the best basketball players in school, just to be fair. I was like, person of color. No, I'm just kidding. White school. Anyway, that's racist. That's racist, Eric. Stop it. Anyway, you just paused. Anyway, we had to. So our coach. So I was young enough I think I was in grade 11, maybe grade 12. but I was still young enough to play on the junior team. So me and another guy who were like both good basketball players, we said, let's go on the junior team, right? And I don't know why. Maybe we wanted to be big shots. I don't know. But we went out, and so the coach in tryouts made us run 10 laps of the whole school, up the stairs and down, like all around, right?
The circuits.
Circuits, yes. And so...
Is that Curtis?
At Curtis, yeah.
Oh, geez.
And so...
Every morning.
Yeah, in the morning. And so me and this other guy that we were older, so we decided, like in grade anyway, not in age, but we were like both young for our age. Kind of gifted. I don't want to get into that. It's a whole different topic.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, anyway.
You decided to cheat.
No, we actually didn't. So everybody else would hide under the stairs to avoid running circuits. So these younger guys, but me and this guy, Mark, we wanted to be leaders. So we said, no, we're going to run the full circuits. We're going to show these guys to run 10 full circuits while they were hiding under the stairs.
Did you see them? You didn't see them.
We saw them. We saw them. They were laughing under the stairs. But this is early tryouts, right?
Who were they hiding from? The coach wasn't paying attention?
Yeah, the coach was not paying attention. And he was in the gym, right, waiting for us to finish, right? But let me tell you the story. So me and Mark, we were doing the right thing. We're like not going to, we said to each other, no, we're going to run all 10, right? So everybody else comes back to the gym. We come back last. And, he did this for 2 or 3 tryouts. And then he cut us both. And we were the best players on the team. So it was like very weird. I remember like some other teachers were like, what the hell? How'd you get cut? And then I was like, I don't know. And this teacher thought that we were dogging it. He thought that we were because we were so good.
You gotta be kidding me.
Yeah.
You come back gassed, like winded, and they come back fresh.
But we come back last.
And he never picked up on this.
No. Well, I mean, they're not fresh. Like, they might do 5, right? They'll come back sweaty. They'll come back tired. But they did half or like 3/4, skipped a bunch. But he thought we were dogging it because we were arrogant and thought we were so good.
No one spoke up because they were cheating. They couldn't.
Well, we didn't know. Like, he didn't come and tell us.
No, you didn't. But yeah, none of the other guys did.
No, they wouldn't at all. They all made the team, and I was like, oh shoot, we're both not on this team. And then and we were the best players there by a mile. And but he thought, like, he was a rugby coach. He was also a good basketball player too. And he thought we were dogging it, but really we were the only ones doing all the work. So I was kind of, yeah. And then also came time, by the way. So after that, like, we would come in and touch lines or do suicides, as they used to call them. Obviously now you wouldn't call it that, but lines.
Yeah.
And we were also very slow in that because we had done so much. Yeah, he didn't know. So he just thought we were like not trying.
And it never got sorted out. Never
not till I became a teacher there.
Dang. Who was it?
Willems. You remember Mr. Williams?
No, I don't.
Yeah, he went to Clark, I think, by the time you were there. But he's a good guy, a good basketball player. Like, we used to play in the mornings against the teachers.
And you didn't say anything? Or you weren't going to rat them out?
Well, I mean, like, he never told... Like,
you didn't know why?
These were the days where, you were just like, oh, I guess, wow, not on the team. That's kind of crazy. And everybody's asking you, and like, I don't know. Maybe... And then, you're thinking, well, maybe he didn't know that we were doing that.
Yeah.
Stuff. So... but he told me, I think, like, when I think I was a teacher, and he was like, oh, it's because you were dogging it. And I was like, oh, you know what's funny about that? We were the only ones who ran. And then, like, so then he was like, oh, well. But that's interesting.
Yeah, right? It is interesting.
So, yeah, I mean, talk about people doing it for the wrong reasons, right? Like, so we at that age understood the benefit of doing the work, and the kids that didn't.
Well, that's consistent with, how you continue to respond with physical punishment later on and in all your further teams that you're on.
It's kind of funny too, because it was a basketball team, and all those players, they all associated, if you think about it, physical fitness with something bad. That's why they were hiding.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah. Whereas me and Mark, the more mature guys, we were like, no, this is good for us. This is good for and it's just a funny example, though, of like how weird that can be misinterpreted, or if you're a coach that's doing that.
I guess I'm lucky, like, cause I was the same, and maybe you were lucky as well that we were never the ones to, maybe if someone brought it up and then I fell for peer pressure and went cheated, then I would have been very different. But like, I just wouldn't have done that. And clearly you didn't either, right? So
well, it's funny that we're here doing this too, because it's kind of like it's like an endurance thing that we're doing, right?
Episode 58.
Like self-induced torture.
Yeah.
A little bit, right? Like, it's not easy sitting here talking with you on a weekly basis,
Yeah.
Acting interested.
I mean, just look at the way I look. I'm falling apart.
No, you're a very handsome man.
Oh, but I'm like...
that's the best thing about working with you, is I get to stare into your...
Wow. I'm getting very uncomfortable.
Whereas me, I'm not the beauty that I once was.
That's why you're always sweating.
I'm always sweating. And no, but I'm not as beautiful as I used to be. But now my mind is beautiful, so I make love to the listeners with my mind.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
And they tune in for your looks in my mind.
Do you do a show after when I leave?
I do.
Oh.
It's called Naked Time. It's like an interpretive dance with no talking. It's called No Time for Words. Anyway. So, yeah. So physical punishments, if you're doing them, stop it. No, I think there is a time. So like I said, high level teams, I think that are maybe not mentally checked in.
What you said
sometimes
the reason why, because when that happens, you as the athlete, you know why, and
your technical stuff is taken care of. You just need a little wake up call. That's maybe the only time it might be warranted.
Well, what about, do you want to talk about that? I think you liked this type of punishment, or like the one with the serving.
Oh, the punishment I like was off the air.
Yeah, sorry, that's for interpretive. That's whatever.
Different.
Anyway,
No Time for Words.
But this one
brought to you by
brought to you by Vaseline.
Whoa.
I mean, or Saran wrap.
Sorry.
You remember what's that movie where?
I think this is bad. I don't like where this is
Full
going.
Monty.
Oh, the Full Monty. That was a great movie. So funny.
Wraps himself in Saran wrap.
I believe in miracles.
That's a good movie.
Anyway.
It was sneaky physical punishment because it's miss a serve, 2 push-ups, right? So it's not that bad.
Mm-hmm.
But then miss a whole bunch of serves, and then you're like, and your arm's getting weaker.
Yeah.
Right, and you have to hit the ball.
Yeah, I learned that from Mark Ainsworth, great coach, Scarborough. And he said, because it's great because it's like missing a serve is like a little 1 point.
Yeah.
And so he was like 2 push-ups is like 1 point. It's no big deal. But if you do a lot, it adds up just like a game. So it's kind of cool that way.
Yeah.
I think I used to do that with you guys, like our teams. We would do
we did that.
2 push-ups. I love that because it's like not excessive, but it's just like, but on the other hand, it's like, I mean, it is good. Yeah. Because it represents, it brings some intensity to the practice. And it wasn't like making the kids hate it. And I did tell them like, you'll be either the best serving team in the league or you'll be the most jacked team in the league.
Yeah.
So if we're really jacked by the end of the season, then that means that we can't serve.
Isn't physical punishment with serving a bit of a tough thing, a bit of a paradox?
Because then your arms are heavier and you
can't
raise
but
them.
It's just that there's always an inherent percentage of error with aggressive serving.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
So...
Well, for me, I think the cool thing about it was that it brought an intensity to serving that like, you know what it did? Like, because in the problem...
It's not about the physical, the 2 push-ups.
Yeah.
Because who's going to sit there and miss 20 serves?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. The cool thing about it is that in a long season, what I really liked about it, and the reason why I adopted that was because, I mean, I didn't do it all the time. It was just like certain practices. But what I liked about it is like so many kids just throw away their serve in practice and they don't think that, they're just like, practice, whatever. But this one is like, all right, 2 pushes for the whole team if you miss. It's just enough intensity.
Yeah.
And then you could also add in the wrinkle, by the way, of like, if you miss a lollipop serve, it's more like it's 3. Or like, you know what I mean? So that way you can bring in that wrinkle of like, I want you to go for it.
Yeah.
And by the way, too, like when I was coaching this, like with you, it was coming out of the era of let serve, like,
right.
No let serves a lot. Like it was 99, early 2000s, I think, right?
Yeah, it would have been.
So that's right. So right after the rules, right after the rules changed.
98 or 99? 98?
99 is when it officially changed. So we still hadn't gotten the old idea of like, okay, serving needs to be a bomb all the time. You know? And if you hit the let serve, spin serve. I think we had a bunch of jump servers on our club team too, and our school team.
I don't remember playing service point at all. I really don't.
Like you don't remember playing like how you served? I
don't remember playing service point.
Service point meaning, what do you mean? Oh, you mean like side out? Sorry, side out. Yes, yeah. Oh wow, side out volleyball. Yeah,
that's what it's called.
It would have been pre. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I started playing in
98. No, maybe 97. Yeah, 90, 98, 99. Yeah.
I was playing like school volleyball in like grade 7, so like 95.
Yeah, side out volleyball. It's, what's funny? Even I have a hard time remembering side out volleyball because once it took over, even though I don't even remember this, but my whole university career was side out.
Weird.
And I don't even remember it because the cool thing, because I played a lot of high level volleyball.
Well, the game really feels the same,
But even when I played in Columbia, it was still side out.
Huh.
Yeah. Crazy, eh?
Yeah.
And then it switched when I came back to Canada. But I've played a lot, so much rally point now that I don't even remember playing side.
That's probably why. Yeah.
Very weird to think of. But the physical, so when we were playing in Colombia, that was like, quote unquote pro team or whatever. We got some money to play, and the coaches there were very hard. They made us do like way too much.
What was the schedule like practice games?
It was like, so it would be like they would technically 2 a day practices.
Yeah.
And then there would be, even on game day, we would do like exhausting running, because they were like old school.
That's brutal.
Well, I know, but see, back then it was like old school, like the most fit team wins and physical punishment was big. But it was funny because if you
got a team of 20-year-olds, maybe you're just burning them out, but they have the youth to kind of get through it.
Yeah, and you would throw up in practice, and
and I had a few other coaches like that.
And their philosophy was like, if you're super fit, then you'll never be tired, and a game is easy, like sort of that whole mindset. And but it was tough. Like, it was like, why am I doing this? Like, it's not fun.
Well, and the element of truth in that is that if you are incredibly fit, for sure, you can do better.
That's true. Yeah. And my shoulder problems developed later, like when I was in my upper 20, like 28, 29. Like, I was only 22 back then, 22 to 24 when I was down there. But when I came back to Canada, that's where I got my shoulder problems. But that was from like playing in men's leagues, and like just no warm up, literally one injury, and then but maybe physically, like, I don't know, maybe the physical training, like the stuff I went through Colombia,
been setting it up.
It might have caused me not to train as hard up here. Like, it's funny because you look at a lot of pro athletes who retire, and they tend to get out of shape pretty fast. Yeah, like you look at NBA players and NFL players, like, because their life had been so
they show up and they go, right?
Well, it's also the forced exercise too, right? Like, mandatory. That maybe turn them off it for pleasure.
If I could choose, it's not a linear comparison. Like, the level of fitness I was in when I was 19 or 18 compared to now.
You would love to go back and do it. Yeah.
But then again, I was 18. But I know at that age, like, we were doing crazy training. Yeah. So that was awesome. It was really cool.
Yeah. I had a good stretch in my last few years of university. Last couple years, I remember going to the gym on my own. And and I had this nice little, there's a secret little gym in one part of the campus that nobody else used. Yeah. And I used to go into that gym and just work out, jump rope. And it was all myself. And I remember thinking it was crazy because that was my rest. My rest was go jump rope, go to the next exercise, go jump rope. And it was crazy. Huh. And I was alone, and there was something cool about that. Like, I loved being alone doing it.
But you started doing because that's pretty intense. Like, you're already supersetting stuff with jump rope.
And I was I was 22, so it was near the end of my university career.
This was well before social media or whatever. So you just had the idea to do this intense stuff.
Yeah, just to why I don't I'd go shoot some baskets with some friends, and then afterwards I'd go up to this little private gym that nobody seemed to know about on campus. Yeah, and and just go work out there, and it was good. It was and then when I did go into the Colombia situation, I was able to handle a lot of the training more, and I think I was craving it too. Like, something felt but then maybe that's why when I came home, I still trained though. I always kind of needed a weight system and a gym membership,
but it's tough to, just as you said in the case of pro athletes, when they're done, it's very difficult to maintain that if you're not still competing, and
sometimes it might be because they've shifted, in my case, not that I was big time pro or anything like that, but I did play a lot of volleyball and I trained a lot. I did redirect that intensity into business, right? And that's what a lot of retired athletes do too, right? Right. They all go into business, and then they become fat because it's true, because then you've just shifted your desire to be number one is now shifted to desire to be the best at that, which leads to cookies, fast food, and sitting somewhere or driving, doing all the business stuff. So the tricky thing is to get back into it, but I think the bottom line of all that is did the physical fitness that we went through that was forced on us or punished, did it turn me off physical fitness? I don't think so.
Well, yeah, clearly not.
Clearly not, because I still keep coming back to it.
Yeah.
And if anything, I go crazy. Like genetically, if I don't play sport, like I tried, I went through a mini retirement like a week and a half ago. I go through this about twice a year after an injury, or if my
you just told me about this before the show. I didn't even realize.
If I'm sad, I go through a mini retirement.
He did buy a Harley though.
I was gonna buy a motorcycle. Yeah. I threatened to go move off.
An Indian bobber, right?
An Indian Scout bobber. Yeah. Nice. But I didn't buy it. Okay. I just, I pretended. I added it to the shopping cart and I exited the browser. Yeah. But no, but the physical fitness again, like it just, if I don't have it, I get depressed and I get, we talk. There's a whole mental health thing too, right?
Yeah.
So I don't think that. I don't know if you can kill a kid, but you can sure turn them off the sport. Like you said, like there's coaches that are just running teams into the ground and punishing them when they should be working on technique. Yeah. Right. Like especially youth sports. Like, I'm sorry. Like we're talking me when I was an adult and you when you were an adult. Like, but in youth sports, if you're not teaching them how to fix the problems and just running them because you think, or even if like even in the college level, right? Like you had young players on your varsity post-secondary team. I had that too. I had coaches that would just punish us rather than saying, "What am I doing wrong here?" Like, and there's an answer. It's easy. Like a good coach, a good player who can articulate things should be able to explain to you what you're doing wrong. And if they can't, they sometimes hide behind the physical punishment.
In hindsight, it's actually staggering to me to think how we got by for 4 years with a coach that hardly provided any technical feedback. How did we all just buy into this and just accept it for what it was and not ever be like, can you help me do this better?
Yep.
And then that was never a thing. It was just, this is the drill. It's like typical butterfly. We're going to work on this, or we're going to work on attacking off a double block. But it was
no insights. No,
it was just like, like the objective is this, do that. And you know what I mean? It's no consideration for like an inside set, a tight set, or what, all this other stuff. Right. I remember we had this one drill. It was all about wiping off the block. And then I'm just forced to do this, but like I can't do it if the set is inconsistent or if it's like off. I can't wipe it if it's a meter off. It has to be.
Why would you even?
And I'm like, and it's just the weirdest thing. And then I'm sitting here. I'm like, what are we doing here? But then by that point, I was so used to this coach. I'm like, I can't do anything about it.
And he's not saying like go up and swing out of bounds, and he's not saying like because he's never done it, right? Like that's the thing. It's like
he wasn't even able to.
But he hid behind physical punishments, right? Like a lot of these coaches, they just act angry and they're like run lines or right. You guys had that, right? So that's what they do.
As bad as others, but
But that's what they do. Right? Like, so I think I told the story earlier on an episode where my kids were playing youth soccer, and I grew up playing a lot of soccer. So I would just sit there and watch the kids, same way I watch volleyball. I wouldn't say anything, whatever, grateful for the coach that's giving their time. But I remember like there was this one season where they had the coach come in. Previous season, they had two coaches come in, husband and wife team. They didn't know anything about soccer, but they looked stuff up online and they researched and they gave drills and the kids had fun and they loved it. And that was it. It was great. No complaints. Technically not strong coaches, but they tried and they had fun. Then this guy comes in the next year. This is like when they're in grade, by the way, like 4 or 5, like little kids. And he's like, we're going to run. And I know this guy is not a soccer guy. I know because this kid was on the team the year before. He didn't know anything about soccer.
And he's not an athlete himself.
No. Well, I mean, he might be an athletic guy, but he was just not a soccer guy, not a formal sports guy, not a varsity sport or never played organized sports, but athletic, And, so I'm like watching them. I'm like, oh crap! He's just like trying to run it like a pro football team here. They're just gonna run and run and run. And I'm like, these kids don't know how to pass. He goes to get them to do a passing drill, and he's like kicking it with his toe. And then his idea of a kickoff in soccer is to like kick it deep. So like don't do the little passing.
Oh, really?
Like so the team would just like they like
run, boot it
to the other team. Like
no team at all ever does this.
It's football. That's football kickoff. Not like American football, not European football. So I was like, oh boy. And then he just made them run and run and run and run, and there's not even fun scrimmage really. And I was just like, man, this guy's hiding. He's just using the physical training as hiding.
I'm just imagining now. Imagine like an F1 driver or a MotoGP driver. Oh, you did that corner wrong. Like go do sprints.
That's
man.
It's great.
Oh, point. Sure.
That'll save my life in the corner.
Yeah.
Great point.
Their heart rate is between 160 and 200 BPM for 45 minutes.
And they lose how many pounds per race? Like 20 pounds?
Yeah.
It's crazy.
The MotoGP guys, they all have to get surgery in their forearms because the muscles get so strong and so big.
I had to have that surgery. Sorry, different podcast. Sorry.
Wrong show. Yeah,
Wrong show.
Why did I bring that up? There's no need. But yeah, anyways, it's super intense.
I got a carpal in the
crazy
tunnel.
Intense athleticism. And they're not going to do physical punishment there because it makes absolutely no sense.
Yeah, right? That would be funny. Get out of the car. What?
Yeah,
get out of the car.
Get out of the car. Run the circuit. Run the whole circuit.
Run. I'm so sick of you.
I can't even look still on it. It doesn't matter. Dodge them. Jump over the cars. They're really low.
I can't even look at you.
Yeah.
Nigel Mansell.
It doesn't. I don't know, man. I was fine with it because for the most part, I think most of the time we had it. Like there was reason, and the big reason, and maybe the one I got mad at, is when I had to run because the intensity of my teammates was low, or even my own intensity. For sure, I've played many games or practices like that where I was just hanging.
But it's funny because if the coach is integral to your intensity, that's the weird thing.
Well, the
coach can be the reason why. Like you guys said, we had this coach with no feedback, and then if that's the coach punishing you, you're like, but you're the reason I'm.
Yeah. And if I'm coming into the 30th practice of the season, and we're starting off the exact same way, we're in the same butterfly drill, and then we're going to do a serving objective thing where we have to serve tough, or we have to get 100 serves over in a row consecutively, or something stupid like that. I'm so bored at this point. I have schoolwork out of my butt. I'm applying to jobs. And now I come in and I have this same. Anyway, I'm not going to.
Well, it doesn't even get into the escape. It doesn't even get into the this is my refuge. This is my fun.
Right.
Intense.
That's what practice was when I was younger. It was literally an escape, a fun place, and you just
And you had the good club experience. Like you came through, and everybody. I think every coach you had was a good coach and someone who knew the sport or knew something about sport.
That brown guy.
He was really good looking though. No, but you know that it.
There we go. I knew it wasn't in.
No, what? There you go. It's a. I think it's a crutch that a lot of coaches use when they don't have the skill to teach. Unless it is a high-level team where they've taught you the fundamentals, and then it can be a little wake-up call. And then, guys, you know what? I don't think you're feeling it. Girls, you know what? I don't think you're in this. Let's just do a couple of this. But even then, you can frame it differently. Like
framing is everything.
Framing is everything. Like, I'm so sick of you guys. Go run lines. That's a waste of time. Say, like, you know what, guys? I think today let's just get. You guys agree? You're not in this? Are you seeing this? Okay, let's get going. What can get us going? Let's get running. Let's get moving. But then, I still think the answer is in the intensity of the drill. Like goal-oriented drills with racing, like a competitive element, really helps teams wake up. If you want to wake, it's still physical, it's still running, but it's still skill-based, and it's getting them awake in a different way rather than just sheer punishment. Because I think the punishment just sets. I think the most important thing that if anybody's listening to this, like the most detrimental thing to a team that's getting punished with physicality is that they will just play more scared. It's like the player that's afraid they're going to lose their spot. Like, the sub that comes in, and the coach is like watching them and they're on a short leash. That player never does well because the coach is ready to yank them out. You need to, as a coach, make sure that your players have peace of mind. And if you're ruling with fear, for sure, they're never going to forget it. They're always going to associate it with you. Yeah. And they're just going to play scared. And like we all know that playing scared means less performance. It's the opposite of flow or whatever you want to call it. The zone, whatever you want to call it. You want players to be in the zone and playing free. And if there's a coach that's going to punish the whole team with physical punishment, then you're just going to make every rep filled with fear, and that means more mistakes. Like we've seen coaches that scream at players, that look at that team, the ones that look over at their coach all the time on the bench. They're not playing free, and they just keep messing up, and the coach keeps getting more frustrated, and the team keeps getting more scared, and it just leads to a horrible season for everybody. Yeah, because these are also typically the coaches that kind of have the blowouts on the side of the bench. 100%. And then, the players on the bench are not going to be able to support
the ones on the court as well. They're not going to be that team where they have a good, like, cheering section support when they're off. Like, that's huge, right? In volleyball, it's always awesome. It's a lot of fun when you get a huge point. Like, as you land from your spike, you kind of turn around and then like run down the sideline towards your team. Like, it's kind of sweet to like do stuff like that, right? And when they're already standing on their feet and they're like super amped for you,
or
right?
the momentum of like coming back and that bench getting loud.
Yeah. Because momentum's massive, right? Especially.
But if there's that cloud that your coach, even the cold stares, like some coaches go to the cold stare in the huddle, they'll say things like, guys, we're going to run a lot on Monday. Or we're going to run a lot next.
That's funny. I wrote this down. The game loss, the threat, that crap.
It's great. My daughter's team last year had it. The coach was like, "We're going to run a lot."
You can tell me that when the next time we're at practice. You don't need to tell me now and then wait 3 days.
Yeah,
because now I have 3 days to think about how crappy this practice is going to be.
Or we're going to play the rest of this match like crap because we're thinking about how much we're going to get punished.
Yeah,
and again, playing afraid.
Well, it just makes fear, threats. Like, come on, you can't. How you do anything is how you do everything.
Yeah.
Right. So you're just being associated with these kind of cheap mechanisms.
I think they're coaching shortcuts. I think they're like coaching like instant. It's like a way for respectable or like coach who can't wow you with his or her knowledge is gonna intimidate you.
I'm trying to understand the train of thought of where it comes from. It's like
I want respect. I want respect.
Okay.
So like a coach that can't earn the respect the other way is going to make you respect them this way. You don't respect me, but you're going to fear me. That's it, right? Or this is my way of making you respect me. I don't know more than you, so I'm just going to run you into the ground when you mess up. That'll be my power over you. That's the only power I have over you. Whereas me, like when I'm coaching, I like come in and the player will respect me because I'm going to tell them stuff that I know is going to work. Like I'm like, oh wow, you're not really taking your steps right. Your footwork's a little wrong here or there, or you're not getting outside as a blocker or whatever. Here's what you're doing wrong. Rather than just punishing the blocker for not getting out. Like, oh, you're not getting out there. Run. Well, why am I not getting out there?
Yeah,
doesn't matter. Run.
Like,
what?
Yeah,
like you said, the F1 driver, right? Like,
yeah,
turn the corner better. What? Turn the corner better. How am I going to do it? Run. What?
500 squats.
Isn't that a different thing entirely?
Yeah.
No. So it doesn't make sense.
That's that example of that coach doing that. Like that's the thing that that pisses me off enough to make me actually go. If I saw that,
I can see you mentally.
I would want to go and I'd be like, give me this team, let me coach it, and then I'll show you.
And that's where a lot of people end up going. A lot of high level players just have to come in and coach eventually. I was like weirdly patient.
There's a sense of competition in that, right? To be like, I can do this, but then
or just like not even competition. There's just like you have it so wrong. I have to step in.
Yeah, actually, that's what it is.
I had a business. I didn't want to cloud in, and I just wanted my kids to we were hoping the whole club experience we were hoping to find a coach that had the right philosophy, mindset. It was just impossible. It wasn't there. Not once I don't think. A high school coach was good. They had a good high school coach who got it, but she was high level athlete, national level. She understood process, and she was young, but she understood that better than any club coach they ever met. So and that's our proof that it's not. And it wasn't just us, because everybody else on the team had the same experience. But
is there?
Sorry, you were going to say something. Did we cut you off from a point?
There's a few things. Is there more or less time for the physical training now for kids?
Oh boy,
on teams.
Well,
because we barely had enough.
So clubs now, it's interesting because what they're doing is they are. A lot of clubs have 2 to 3 days of gym time. And then they'll add an additional day of weight training or physical training. That's and sometimes, tough, it's tough. It's sometimes with a service provider at a lot of places. They'll have a gym partnership or some training organization that will train them. But the weird thing is that they're not taking into account recovery stuff. So your tournaments might be Saturdays, and then but the only time is Sunday. No, Sunday. It's crazy. The next day after swinging all day, and then you got to go do shoulder training. And the business doesn't care. The weight training provider doesn't care, because they're we just got to fit them in when we can.
Well, that's just negligence.
It's not. It's just it's more the business side taking over, and we better throw in a gym day because that's what the other club is doing, and So it's a weird, like, in theory, what clubs should probably, it's funny, like what a club should do is build into the cost like a little band system for players and athletes.
Yeah.
And just tell them, like, here's some exercises that you guys should do on off days at home, with some bands, and like they're not expensive, right?
Yeah.
And some body weight. Body weight exercises.
Yeah,
right?
that's definitely
that's a great idea. Rather, and here's when you do it, and here's like you have to do it today because this is a rest day. After tournament, relax.
A jump rope.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I guess the tough thing about skipping in the winter, if you don't have access to a gym or a room with a ceiling.
Yeah,
I'm actually hoping to do some jump rope.
Jump rope's nice. I actually forgot about it. I do it to warm up.
Yeah,
but it is a good way to, like, in between sets. It's a good. It's good for jumping.
I haven't done it for a while. It's kind of exhausting.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I got one of those jump ropes with no rope. It's just the handles now. So
yeah.
Have you seen those?
Yeah,
they're real.
Where'd you?
I just don't think they like. I mean, the whole point is to get over the rope, right? So it's like, I don't have to get over the rope now. It's like, what the hell are you doing?
Is it just like glow sticks and you put some rave music on?
Actually, pretty soon it'll just be me twirling my wrists.
Yeah,
I don't have to jump. I figured I could just.
I thought you were kidding.
Knees. No, I was kidding.
Okay.
Oh, but I'm not kidding about that. They exist.
The ones without the rope.
The ones without the rope. You haven't seen them?
No.
There's these things that are like weighted, and you just jump, and there's no rope. It's just like weighted things that you're doing.
That's the.
I know. There's no goal.
I can't jump rope.
I know, but this is the society we live in now.
What?
They're tired of that rope getting in the way. Like, pretty soon they're gonna get rid of the net in volleyball, right? Hey, why do we have a net? Why do we have a net when now everybody can hit? No, I'm just kidding. But the rope thing is real. There is a thing that exists like that. Because you can technically, if you think about it, if you just jump,
but
you're jumping, but you're not getting over the rope, and you don't have that failure, and you don't have that
and
interruption,
like the coordination, and like and
there's something better. And there's something about that. Oh crap! Hitting the rope and going and then jump higher. Not anymore. It's real.
Yeah, that usually when you're getting too tired or something, you hit
your feet drag, and you got to lift more, and
And then you don't get to do the whip, the crazy cross things, and the double skip.
Well, you can do it. You can do it.
And the side to side.
You can do it.
No, you can't.
It's just easier.
No, you can't.
It's even easier. You can do it more.
You can do like a 360.
Just see me. And do it like 8 times. Clear it every time. It's easier.
No.
Come on, that's what we want. We want to make things easy, Eric. That's
so
what
they're
we want to do as a
weighted
society.
and they glow. Do they have? Oh, I don't want to know.
Yeah. Well, you should tell the people. Speaking of easier, this is just AI. We're not even here.
Yeah. You're right. Yeah.
People don't look this good in real life.
True.
We paused to look at the cameras in case you're just listening.
Yes.
Go
back and you can take a photo.
Mm.
Was it on you or me?
First I had it on me, and then I held a funny face, and then I held it on you, but you lost the funny face.
Yeah.
Do it again. Look at the camera and do it funny.
Well, at the camera?
Well, kind of like that. There you go. That's as sexy as it gets. The anyway. So if you're
skipping without a rope,
stop it. Skip it. Skip the ropeless. No. So you had something else you were gonna say, I think.
Well, not really. I was thinking of when our coaches, when are they using the punishment? But it's usually some objective based thing. Mm-hmm. I realize it's not really.
Well, no, it's true. Well, and we covered it because if you're doing it to wake a team up, that's very highly skilled and knows what they're doing, and then it makes sense because now they're mentally checked out, and maybe you could sort of
get it. Yeah,
they understand it and they are aware of it and they need to focus. And but if you're using it for little kids, because that's what you saw the pro coach do, that doesn't work. That means that you're just losing your time to help them because they need real skill.
With little kids, there's so many fun ways to get them to run hard, and they'll enjoy it.
Yes.
And then go and do soccer. They'll gas themselves out and then recover in a few minutes, and then you can go do skills. So it's really makes no sense.
Yeah. My philosophy with any youth practice is that they need, remember I used to say this to you, they should be exhausted, sweaty, and laughing. When they leave, if it's a youth program and that kid is tired, sweaty and laughing, that's a great practice.
You know what's funny? Last night, because the gym was cold, so new group of adults, and I get there, and I didn't want to take too much time with introductions and getting to know each other. It was the first day of a new clinic we just started. So I was just just everyone warm up, do a quick lap. right? And I was going to do something else after that. I was just going to do a typical volleyball thing where you go to the baseline, do lunges, do all this stuff. And anyways, they run and then they get back, and then Meg, I was like, oh, well, what should we do for warm-up? She's like, well, do like line tag. And I was like, oh, but they're like adults. They don't want to do stuff like that. And then she's like, no, they're going to love it. I was like, all right. And it basically, because there's a whole bunch of lines on a typical court, it's like, you got it. We're going to play tag, but you can only run along these lines.
And so that's cool.
They loved it. It was hilarious.
Adults just want to be like kids.
They loved it. Yeah, I loved it. I played it. I'm like, this is hilarious. It was a whole bunch of fun. I'm like, well,
and you did that for the whole hour and a half.
We did it for like 10 minutes. And I was exhausted.
Shouldn't we play volleyball? Shut up.
It was also really funny because like there'd be a group of like 8 people along this one part of the line, and then the person started chasing one of them, and they all got backed up in the cram. That's awesome. So like obviously it's super easy. Like get that one person, you can jam them up.
So they had fun.
I know.
It's
pretty funny.
And it's the same with kids programs. Like if you want them more intense, then step up your game, as a coach.
Just think a little bit.
Yeah, and just like it doesn't even have to be thinking. It's literally honestly as simple as like it could be
be in a good mood in a way.
Well, one of our best warm-ups, like one of the national teams do this a lot too, and one of the things that we did was we played basketball.
Yeah.
Like our coach would literally get us to do basketball. I think I did it with you guys too. We'd play pickup pass, like little like it gets you running, it gets you moving, it's loose, it's a different sport.
Yeah.
And then when you come on the court, you're ready, you're warm, you're having fun, and then you can go into some intense like competitive team versus team, player versus player stuff with fewer players on the court, by the way. So they have to move, and there's diving and there's laughing and there's exhaustion and funny things happen. And those points where, someone hits the tape and gets the point and they're like laughing, or, some weird, shank and everybody's taunting each other. Like that's fun. And that's how you up the intensity without the craziness.
Yeah.
And then they're already gassed. They're already getting their cardio, and there's no punishment element, and there's less fear next time they hit the court. Yeah. And next, in that setting, you'll get players taking risks, and you'll, you can even reward them for more aggressive play. You can actually build in like, hey, you know what? 2 points if you do an ace on your serve, double the points or something like that. You know what I mean?
I like the basketball thing too, because different athletes can shine. Like we're always playing volleyball. We know who's better at all these skills or whatever. Then you get into a different sport.
That's a great point.
Different.
Yeah.
And I love that, because then they get that feeling, and
the best player might be humbled in that, where like
Big
the worst
time.
Player might be the best basketball shot or something. Yeah. It's interesting because it gives them a chance to do something. Or like, maybe one of your players is the best at freeze tag. No, I'm just kidding. Too juvenile? No. Freeze tag is fun. No, but you know what I mean? Like we all, even kids want to feel like younger kids sometimes. So it's kind of fun to do
that's
that.
True.
And make them lose that too cool for school thing too. Like that's the thing with teenagers, is you have to get them out of their like, I'm too cool to play freeze tag. Yeah. But then they get going and they can feel like they were young kids again too, right?
They get tagged and then they go, I'm going to take a selfie.
Yeah. No, but they get into it. Like that's one of the coolest things. I remember coaching like a lot of youth clinics, and like one of the cool things is seeing that those kids that are like at that age of 13, 14, and they're starting to get self-conscious.
Dude, that's what sports helped me with.
Yeah. And then they loosen up, and they lose their self-obsession. They become that's where the team thing comes into, like or once they get going and there's a team like team dodgeball or something where you're accountable to a group. It's freeze tag where you're representing a team or something.
Was it at your practices where we used to do the the person would fall backwards and we would catch them?
Trust. I think we did trust things. Yeah.
Oh, I was actually joking, but did we actually?
I don't know. Maybe I've done that before. Oh yeah, trust. It might have been phys ed. Wasn't it in phys ed class?
Probably.
I think phys ed class we used to do that. Yeah, like as a student, I remember doing that. Trust falls or whatever. Yeah. And and like you're like, if you're with a jerk, you're like, I'm not doing this game. I know this guy.
You can just do it with 2 people to start with. Ooh. Yeah, actually,
yeah.
Oh, no, God. But no one ever let anyone fall, I hope.
Oh, are you kidding me? Of course. Of course they did.
Well, really?
People would do
Okay, I guess we're doing this on mats then. We must have been.
Yeah,
we do it.
I don't know. Sometimes, well, I mean, the teacher would kill you if you did.
How do you let someone? That's insane.
I know, but it's funny, right?
Well, yeah. Like,
well, if you did on carb, I'm pretty sure my brothers did that. Like we did that to each other. We're like, oh yeah, let's do it.
What did? Yeah,
they would expect.
No.
They would expect it to. Get your hands down. Like I'll keep my hands here for like 3/4 of the way.
Yeah,
I don't trust you. Yeah. Trust. Yeah. Well, I just met you. It's like what we were talking about before the podcast. Trust me.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Oh yeah. Anyways,
Real
other
me.
podcast.
Real
other
me.
podcast.
Right. Yeah. So I think if we were going back and reviewing, physical punishments have a time and place. I think for well-trained, fully formed athletes who might need a wake-up call, but even then, I think you can frame it as like, "Hey, we're not on it today. Let's sharpen up."
You're providing the reason,
and you're providing a reason, a why, not just I'm punishing you.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of high-level athletes would be like, "Yep, we need this," and a lot of athletes crave that when they see their teammate. Like,
actually,
like
that's
this,
important because if failing to do that as a coach is also important.
Yes.
Right.
Because you're sending the wrong message to the athletes who like, and it's the same with
they're counting on you to actually step in and change.
Yeah.
Because there could be a few athletes that are there, that are present, that are working hard. Because it's not,
and they see it.
Yeah.
And you're
it's
not
usually
doing
not
anything.
everyone.
Yeah.
But like in volleyball, you can't single people can't carry, right? It's always so team based. Hence why this is important. Yeah.
And I see that, like, it's funny because that's kind of universal, because I see it as an employer too. Like, if somebody's not doing their job, the rest of the team is looking to the coach or the boss to be like,
totally.
Otherwise, why am I busting my ass?
Because it doesn't seem right coming from me, or it's not going to work coming from me.
Yes. There's a certain sense of responsibility. Like, it's like a teacher too. I think students have been in classes where the teacher has no control over the class, and the kid's like, why isn't the teacher doing anything?
Yeah.
Right. There's a whole, and in that case, it's a little different because you don't have that team goal, but there is that they look to the authority figure to sometimes do that when it comes to fully formed older athletes, I think. But in the youth game, I think when you are working with athletes who aren't focused, I think that's where you bring in the intense gameplay. And it doesn't have to be, by the way, super like, hey guys, let's have a fun practice. It could be, all right, you three here.
Why did you do that voice?
What? Hey guys.
sorry.
Hey guys, that's my YouTube voice. That's my. Hey guys, today I'm gonna show you how. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, dude. I'm gonna show you how to.
I always think like, I don't know. My favorite is when people do that and they're like, "Hey guys," and then you look at the video views, there's like 2 views, and it's the same person who made the video, checked it twice or something, 2 different devices. Hey guys, there's nobody watching. Stop saying that. But anyway, so the it doesn't have to be this uber positive thing. It could still be an intense, like, hey guys, you know what? We're dragging our feet. We're not in this.
Yeah.
You 3 here, you 3 there, you 3 are team, you 3 are team. And it's a race to 5, go. And you could even mix in, if you want to put in the consequence of like, loser has to take down, or the team that finishes last has to do something, or something like that. That could be kind of something. Yeah, that could be kind of fun. Then it's an intense thing, not a like I hate the whole team kind of thing, or you're all going to play scared. I think, it's a more of a competitive thing, right? That's how you bring it in. And so it doesn't have to be uber, like, we did say the fun thing. The fun takes care of itself in that activity because it's got competition, it's got score, and it has like the kids, like when the team at the end of that is going to be laughing, and they're going to be sweaty, and they're going to be exhausted. And that's the goal. And
you change their mind state. Like that's
chemicals in the brain. Yep. It's a real tangible difference in the room without the whole introducing fear.
And and the more having those experiences of showing up one way, not in like, which is as adults now when we exercise, the only reason why we lose our consistency or stop is because we just don't want to do it. But that's like it every time. It's just on some days it's way worse than other days, but you just don't want to do it unless. It's not for everyone. I do know some people that work out fanatically every day, and they're sometimes doing it for the wrong reason. Yeah, right. That's the danger. Like, you can work out every day for the wrong reason. And I think there is a way to be motivated where it's not like you like I just worked out before this, and I didn't hate it. I actually, it was a little tough to get going. I didn't do as much as I wanted, but like I do feel great. But it's always a little tough to start, but it wasn't awful. But what my point is just like you're teaching these athletes that they can show up one way and end up leaving, and so they can change it through the mechanism of exercise.
Wouldn't it be cool, like if at the end of a practice like that where a coach does that, if they had the wherewithal, if they were like a workout or athlete themselves, to say, now guys, I want you to think about how you walked in here today. Like you could do this with your adults too, right? In your youth clinics, how you walked in here today and how you're feeling.
That's a good point.
And how you feel now.
Yeah.
And I want you to remember this the rest of your life, like in terms of, what does physical fitness and exhaustion, competitiveness, working hard do to my physiological state? Because that's why you and I keep working out, right? Like I just said it last week. I was having a really weird week emotionally. I was exhausted.
You almost moved to...
Sleep deprived. Yeah, I almost moved. I almost...
Costa Rica, or I was going to say Colombia or Venezuela. But
yeah, in my mind, I was elsewhere.
Yeah.
I was out on a bow of a tree, trapped, waiting for the fire department. Meow, meow.
See, but the fear of embarrassment was stronger.
Yes.
So
but, if we
got my own.
If we actually had a listening audience,
there
would be memes of you on the internet, right, going up now with your face on a cat's body stuck in a tree with the fire department, trying to get you down, and paralyzed with fear would be. But anyway, and then that's why we go in the gym, because we're aware of that, like me having that off week, you not feeling the best, and then getting in the gym, working out, feeling better afterwards. That's what you want to pass on to your athletes, right? It has real tangible benefits for how you feel at the beginning, how you feel at the end. That's a great point that you brought up and just didn't finish off the way I did.
Yeah. Well, I'm a setter.
Yeah, you're a you're a distributor. You sure ain't a boss? No, I'm just kidding. I can't talk. Anyway, I think we're out of time.
Yeah.
Do you have more? Do you have more?
No, I'm just laughing at you saying we're out of time.
We're out of time. That's an old TV thing, right? People, it's the internet. We have endless time. Unless you say the wrong thing. And then they take away your YouTube channel forever.
That's the other podcast.
Yes, other podcast. All right, everybody. So that's episode.
We're running out of memory.
We're running out of memory.
There you go.
That's all the memory we have today.
That's all the terabytes we got.
Terabytes. It's like a 16-hour podcast. Well, we're out of terabytes. Okay, everybody. So we hope you enjoyed that episode. And of course, as always, you are welcome to comment on Spotify. Has its comments thing now. So if people want to comment, I saw that. We actually get some comments on there.
Wow. Dang.
It's kind of cool. It's kind of cool and offensive.
How long do they have that?
It kind of hurt my
feelings. How many episodes? Has it been like 20 episodes?
I don't know. I've been looking, though. I think I've been looking.
Great.
But anyway,
I'm going to look right now.
But on YouTube, of course, that's where we get,
yes,
we read the comments, and even the hurtful ones. We enjoy them.
Yeah, I think they're awesome.
Yeah, because like it means that you're paying attention.
Makes me stronger.
Kelly Clarkson.
Yeah.
No, but if you are watching, subscribe, of course. That's the reason why this.
Yes, please.
That really helps us. We're coming close to 1,000 subscribers now on YouTube, which I think is an accomplishment.
We will do a naked episode if we hit 1,000.
Whoa, that's a deterrent. Now they won't do it. No. We also are coming close to 4,000
Why
Facebook.
Did I say that?
That's okay, because you're worried about. You're like a kitten on a tree,
Yeah.
Kitten on a on a bow.
On a bow.
Kitten on a bow. Wow. Anyway. Boom, kitchen, meow,
can you
meow,
wrap it up?
boom, bow, meow, meow. Anyway, no, what I was saying was, if you subscribe to us on YouTube, that's super helpful. And then if you like our Facebook page and follow us on Instagram, we are there. We put up clips and links to episodes there, so that always helps us, makes us feel like you are listening, because sometimes we don't know how many people listen. Like, we get a lot of views, and the views don't match the subscriptions.
Silent majority.
Is that what it is?
Yeah.
I don't know. We don't know they're out there. Anyway, I'm gonna shut up now because Eric's scrolling. He's done. So
yeah.
All right.
If you like this, just click. I didn't cry.
You did.
No, it didn't.
Yeah.
No, it didn't.
You did.
Just go back.
Go back.
Just
rewind.
replay.
Okay, I'll rewind.
It didn't crack.
I'm rewinding right now.
I did not just go through.
Okay,
puberty.
just hold on. I'm gonna rewind.
Okay, you're gonna rewind it right now.
Yeah, rewinding.
Okay.
What's the big idea?